Okay, this is a video, this is probably at least 10 years old that I had to do this. This is when I was under the illusion that I owned the property. Okay, shortly before this project I was doing right now is I had Woody Scouten, Phil Marcotte, and Edwin Kelly were standing right there where I'm working, where we're both working now. And there was a berm. When I have since taken out the berm. When Woody Scouten told me that you can do whatever you have to do to get the water off your property, he saw there was a berm between me and the golf course property line and the water couldn't get out. He gave me permission in front of Ed Kelly to do whatever I had to do. So I went to A1 Rentals there at I think it was Van Buren and Oruma and Dysart, and I rented that tractor. They delivered it. I rented it for the weekend. It was like something like $500, $550 for the weekend. They delivered it on a flatbed, dropped it off in front of the house, and I was fortunate enough between I had 3 houses at the time, and I was fortunate enough to have room between 2 of the houses to drive the tractor through. But when they delivered the tractor, I found it really difficult to use because there was a shift lever. One of the levers that controlled the bucket or controlled the tractor, one of the levers where it hooked into the linkage, there was no lock nut. So every time you went to push this lever, the lever didn't lock into the linkage. So I had to spend about an hour and a half finding a lock nut and a nut to straighten that out, to where when you pushed the handle, whenever you did anything with the handle, you had it moved the linkage. So and I invited my member of the family to come out. That's a another thing I rented that week was an electric jackhammer. And what I'm doing is, prior to what you see, the fellow with the bucket, the end loader, took down a lot of dirt between the property line and the patio. When Woody Scouten and Ed Kelly and Phil Marcotte were here, they could see, just like the surveyor told me when he was standing there shortly before that everything is uphill from here. There's no way the water can get off your property. All the water that comes, they're using you to store water underground. That's basically what the surveyor told me. He said they're using your lot to store water. I can see where everything is uphill from the patio. All the water that comes off your roof is stuck here. It's a retention basin. You're not supposed to have... Well, I'm putting a lot of words in the surveyor's mouth. The surveyor didn't give me that lecture, but basically when he said they're using your house and your lot to store water, because of my science background, my math background, my geometry background, what I did for a living, I understood immediately what he was telling me. They did this on purpose. And I don't know why. This is something that was sold to me. This wasn't supposed to happen. Residential lots, Well, after talking to the surveyor, who was my age, he was in his 60s, late 50s, 60s, said he'd been surveying for 35 years. When I called him on the phone, I said, the local people out here have told me that if I have lakes around my patio, when it rains, that I have a problem. So can you come out and take a look at it? So he agreed to come from the other side of the valley out here. He said, I'll put my equipment in the car and we'll take a look. And when he stood at the end of the pipe where I'm about to step up with the water levels, and what we're doing now is those two sticks that he is holding and that I am holding, I'm adding water to the water levels. Those are water levels. Okay? They're graduated. There's a lake inside that hose, and that lake is level. So what we were determining was the drop. That was a 40-foot run from end to end, and it had a 10-inch drop in 40 feet. So that was a good positive drop. But this is what I had to do to my lot. I didn't get what I paid for. One of the reasons why it was so easy to keep the water up here is not only did they put a berm between my patio and the golf course, but they also raised the property line where my property meets the golf course. All along that length from Sundance Parkway to Tract A is, I would say, 2 to 2.5 feet high all the way. Okay, now we're covering up, but what I did was I had a retention basin between the two houses. The water couldn't get out. It was trapped there. We don't get a lot of rain here in Buckeye. I've been here 20 years, 19 or 20 years, almost every day for 19 or 20 years. And they don't get rain. So problems like this don't show up very often with the drainage. But anyway, that tractor was a 3-day special. They brought it here on a Friday afternoon. We used it Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. They came and got it. And that with the, I probably had $1,000 with equipment and the tractor, the pipe, because I did that on both sides of the house, both sides of the patio. But this is a lien that was put against my house that nobody told me about. This was the town of Buckeye, the builder, and the golf course more or less co-opting my property as a drainage basin to keep the water off the golf course. Exactly, that's exactly what happened. And now I can't do anything right, and nobody will talk to me downtown. When this surveyor told me, I was a retiree from working on commercial aircraft, United Airlines, US Air, America West, World Airways, the US Marine Corps Air Wing. I've been working on planes probably 30-35 years total, doing it by the paperwork. This was an undocumented, undisclosed booby trap. They sabotaged my lot. More or less what that guy told me is they've sabotaged your lot. All right, and we've run out of, let's see if I can find another one. But this is a short one. We'll stop now. But this is what I had to do. When they filled up Tract A, they needed a place to put water. All right, and everything was what I am doing, what I just did is I turned retention into detention. Now it can rain every day hard for a week. You'll get a lake there momentarily. When it stops raining, the lake drains onto the golf course. That didn't happen before. The illicit retention basin that was installed on my lot in the spring of 2004. They did this in the spring of 2004, the winter and spring of 2004. They lowered the finished floor elevation of my house, which made it even easier. They didn't have to bring in as much dirt, but they had a berm that ran across my lot that didn't allow water off the lot. And try to imagine if you got a week of storms where every day it rained hard for an hour and it built a lake, a huge lake here. And by the next day when it started raining again, the lake was almost all absorbed under the house. That wasn't supposed to happen. It's bad for the foundation. It causes the cement to rot. I would get sometimes in these rainstorms in the spring, a 2-day rain or a 3-day rain, I would get enough water under the house to last for 3 or 4 months. Where it just, you had a huge lake here every day and the property had to absorb it, either through evaporation or absorption. They turned the dirt under my house into a slurry. But I'll stop here and put this on. Okay, and